Welcome, everybody. Here we go. It's that time again. Matt Connarton Unleashed, and we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious and very cold and windy downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Also on Comcast 97 if you're in Manchester. Streaming at WMNHradio.org and on the Facebook on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. Today is Wednesday, November 18, 2020. Welcome, everybody. It is so nice to have you with me. It is very, very cold today. You know, in fact, and I realized it about halfway here. I forgot my water. You know, I usually, for those of you watching online, you may have noticed I usually drink out of a red water bottle that I drink out of. And I got here today and I realized I did not have it with me. And it gets very dry in this room. In fact, you know, and I talk a lot during the show. Well, it's the nature of the show, right? So I had to run down to Bunny's Superette, or do they still call it the Superette, the convenience store down here, Bunny's. And by the way, shout outs to Bunny's because I walked in and they had WMNH 95.3 on and the radio in there. But I had to go down there because I needed water. But I was horrified when I realized I was going to have to do that because it was so, I know these are first world problems. It was so cold and windy out just walking from the parking garage into the building here. I was like, oh no, I have to go back out. But I mean, I toyed with not going back out, but then I was like, that would be crazy because I need to remain hydrated during this program, my friends. So there you go. That's my story. More of an anecdote, really, and barely even that. I don't know why. But you know, actually, I'm glad I mentioned it though, because again, you know, we appreciate that Bunnies. I've heard that actually that they do play the station down there. So that is wonderful to hear. So anyway, I am hydrated for today, and I'm alone here, so I may be talking a lot. So it's good to be hydrated, but it's I think the coldest day we've had so far this season. So and very windy. It's like that when that cold wind hits you in the face. It's like sandpaper in your face, except it's not sandpaper. That would actually be worse. So it's really not like that at all. It's just, well, it's like cold wind in your face. But anyway, that's the scoop. Let me give the numbers, and then we'll say hello to everybody in the Facebook live chat, and then we'll see what kind of trouble we can get into today. Give us a call at 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. You can also send a tweet. Well, you don't send a tweet. You tweet to at Matt Connarton. Well, then again, well, no, and you wouldn't tweet to me, you would tweet at me, right? I'm trying to get the terminology down because Twitter is not, I don't use Twitter enough, and it's all the rage. All the cool kids are using Twitter. And Instagram, I need to improve my Instagram game as well. Of course, you can also email me, matt@mattconnerton.com. You can send a text to 617-917-4476. You can opine and interact in the Facebook live chat if you're watching the show on the Facebook. But the best thing to do so that we can hear your dulcet tones is give us a call at 603-250-6007. Sorry if I seem distracted. I was just noticing something on the soundboard I'd never noticed before. Like, Oh, I know why. Okay. Anyway, that's irrelevant to all of you, so I'm sorry. My ADD kicking in a little bit there, I guess. We'll say hello to everybody in the Facebook live chat. Looks like Mike Pelopita first one in today. Mike is a top fan from Queen City Cabinetry. Bring your kitchen to life. Queen City Cabinetry in the historic Sunbeam Mall, one of our great sponsors here at WMNH 95.3 FM. And of course, I should also mention, because it is Wednesday, so they're open today, the Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan Plaza at 1000 Elm Street. Wednesdays, they wear the shirts. These wonderful Matt Connarton Unleashed shirts that we have, which will be available online soon, by the way. We have our first call of the show today. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
This is DJ Lady Stace or Stacie Laughton. I figured I'd give you my dulcet tones.
Dulcet tones, yes. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. I wanted to share with everyone, today was day one of our first orientation session. We did have it at the State House. It was socially distanced, considering it was primarily geared towards new representatives.
Okay.
They didn't expect, obviously, 400 people to show up, and there wasn't. There was only like a little over around probably 100 or so of us, and they had us all properly distanced and individually packed lunches, so we didn't, we weren't self-serving at a buffet table somewhere or whatever where we could potentially spread.
Yeah.
But it was nice. We had a mock session. We got to know others that are newly joining the State House, and what I liked was the mock session, because then it gave us kind of a little bit of practice into how we'll conduct business once we're fully active and engaging in legislative activities,
Very good.
But it was awesome, and I just also wanted to say, while I was on your air today, just so everyone could verbally hear my dulcet tones when I say this. Yesterday, if there was anything said in the chat, as far as, because I was a little excitable, I guess you could say. If I was offensive to anyone, I'm sorry.
Oh.
And just so everyone knows, when I share my link, I'm not sharing a link for like a show that I'm doing. I really like your show, Matt, and I love the station up there. So one thing, as part of my learning to become a broadcaster, is I share your content as you're live, and
I
that
appreciate
link
it.
is just an added little thing there. But no, it's your show, so I hope everybody stays in the chat and stays with the WMNH radio.org link. But I put that there just to show it, but it's not in any way trying to promote me, and so I just wanted to clear the air on that.
Okay.
I do it because I really, really like your show, and I want it to be heard in as many places as possible.
No, we appreciate that, Stacie. Thank you very much. Yeah, absolutely.
No problem.
I like it when a
yeah.
fight breaks out in the chat, actually, personally. I think it's great.
You do?
I think it's fun, yeah.
It was the first time I got a little excitable, and I kind of had joined in it. And I do have to say, my fellow fans of your show here, you guys are very, very active and opinionated, which is good, and are very apt to defend your beliefs, which is also very good. And so for whatever happened yesterday, regardless if it, seemed a little heated, I kind of appreciate it. It shows that people are firm in their beliefs and firm in their support for the show and everything else. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I love the passion of the audience. It's wonderful. I mean,
Yes.
and it's not just me who comes unleashed. It's all of us, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess we do kind of become a little unleashed.
Yes.
I think well, Matt, it's Matt Connarton Unleashed. It's our inspiration to become a little unleashed.
Well, wonderful. Well, I'm glad. I appreciate that, Stacie. Very good.
No problem. So enjoy the rest of your show today. I can't wait to listen in and see what you've got either planned or sometimes your shows, when you really don't have anything planned, and sometimes the content that we kind of trigger up, and you trigger up, which is always awesome. I've never been disappointed with the show.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'll let you in on a secret. So I always have things. I always have things planned. I always do a bunch of show prep, and I always have a lot of stuff kind of planned that I'm going to get to, and then probably maybe 80% of the time, it ends up being totally something different than what I had planned, which is
Right.
totally cool. Either because of me changing my mind about what I was going to do, or somebody else with a call or a comment in the Facebook
Kind of
live
going
chat or
with the
whatever
flow.
sends us in a different direction, and
Yeah.
which is how I like it. I like, I every day I prep for the show with the understanding that what I have prepared might go right out the window because we may go in a totally different direction. And I like to keep it, I like to keep some level of spontaneity, and I like to keep it
Yes,
kind of
I love
loose.
that.
That's why whenever anyone asks me for advice, occasionally someone will ask me for, usually somebody new who's just getting into doing a show, whether it be on the radio or as a podcast or whatever it may be. And I always, and I'm always happy to give people advice, but I always do so with the caveat. Brian Mackey, if he's in the Facebook live chat, he knows this. I always offer the caveat that whatever I'm going to tell you, it's probably wrong, because any professor at any broadcasting school would tell you that the way I do it is completely wrong, and that you should have everything formatted and laid out, and you should be much more prepared than I am. Whereas I like to keep it kind of loose and spontaneous.
So you're the master of off the cuff and going with the flow.
Hardly.
Whereas some people need to be on a schedule, I guess, right?
I'm hardly the master of it, but I do try. I've gone through a couple phases where I decided, I want to try to have a specific segment, like, and kind of format things out, but it just doesn't work that well for me. I like to keep a certain amount of spontaneity, unless we have a specific guest scheduled or something that changes things.
One thing, your Monday shows, when you do the conversations about societal stuff. Now, for a show that's really formatted and geared towards a certain topic, I mean, again, I love all your shows, but Monday, the dialogue and the commentary that comes out of that is very informative, and the people that you have on, from the Hop Knop, Oscar, my friend Oscar there, such great insight. I mean, sometimes you think you think, oh, well, yeah, I understand all of this and whatnot, but then they put their perspectives on it, and then it changed minds a little bit, and it's a good thing. And that show on Mondays to discuss those topics is really amazing.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Stacie. Yeah, we get a lot of positive feedback about the Monday shows, including myself. I mean, Mondays kind of become my favorite day of the week around here. I always, we weren't able to do it this past Monday because Kenny wasn't able to make it as originally planned. But for those who don't know, for anyone who's new to the show, typically Mondays we have guests like from the Hop Knot. That's a black-owned business, or Oscar, your friend Oscar, who you mentioned, or my friend too now. Who brings a Hispanic perspective. We try to devote Mondays to discussions on race and social justice issues, and we've been doing that for a few months now. It was actually Jenny's idea.
Someone that may want to be interested in participating in that is, there's a state rep in my district. One of my colleagues, his name is Manny. I can't pronounce his last name, so I won't try to torture it. But he's one of just a small amount of Hispanic representatives in the state house, and me and him have some great dialogue whenever I get to talk with him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if you can connect me with him or tell me how to reach him, that sounds like.
He was on Ben's show. A couple weeks before the election. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
As a matter of fact, he was on the show just before you were on before the election.
Oh, okay. Oh, he should be very easy to find then. Great, and he already knows already knows where we're located, so that would be perfect. Yeah.
But yeah. So again, compliments to the show, and I don't really want to hold you up any longer. But yeah, hey, I love my fellow fans in the chat. Like I said, they're always very engaged, and not always you see, like, I don't have, when I'm broadcasting, whether I'm doing a show or I'm just broadcasting content, I'll see some people commenting, but I really love to see the engagement that goes on in your chat.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I try to read the comments, but a lot of times there's too much going on in there for me to even get to it, and I have to go back and look at them later. Not that I mind; it's a wonderful problem to have. I love seeing a busy chat room. It makes my day. Absolutely.
Yes. So tomorrow I have Democratic caucus, and then Friday a second orientation. So I'll let you know how all that goes, and it's fun being able to get this far. In 2012, I didn't get to orientation, so this is really nice. I think it's going to work out 100% this time, and it's going to be an honor to have that happen.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations, Stacie. It's a great thing.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
I'll have a great show, and I'll be listening.
All right, my friend. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, the Honorable Stacie Laughton, a New Hampshire state rep from the city of Nashua, who just had orientation at the State House. That is wonderful. And she's in the Facebook live chat as well. Anthony Richard, our friend Tony D from Philadelphia, host of the Tony D Show, and a top fan, says, "What's up, everyone? Good evening." Angela Philbrook joins us in the Facebook live chat, says, "Good afternoon." Brian Mackey, who is a top fan, all the way from Idaho and host of the No More Excuses podcast. In fact, we recorded a new edition. I was participating in that with Brian last night, and it is up on the YouTube, brand new edition of No More Excuses. Tony D says, "I quit my second job today since they haven't been following the mask rules lately." Oh, very interesting. Well, good for you. I mean, I hope that's not too much of a hit financially for you, but yeah, that's disappointing to hear that there's still businesses that aren't, of course, I always say, I mean, you can go into almost any convenience store around here and they're, they have signs up that say you have to wear a mask, and then you walk in and half the time the employees aren't wearing masks, and, there's no enforcement or anything. Although I was in a convenience store in Concord, there's a Circle K in Concord where they have a sign up, like they have the signs up that say you have to wear a mask, and then there's other signs directly below them that say, "Please stop arguing with our staff about it," which I thought was interesting. Of course, I'm sure most people still ignore all of it. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
What's up, buddy?
Hey, I know that voice.
Yeah, I quit my second job today, dude. Let me tell you how crazy this is.
Yeah.
For the last 2 weeks, man, I just been noticing people, employees that I'm not going to give the name of it. It was a retail chain that I worked there for a couple months just to get over the pandemic stuff because my wife's hours were cut. So
okay.
It wasn't anything. But a couple of the employees, right after the store would close, the managers, the employees, and everyone would take off their masks, and they were like, "All right, all the customers are gone. Let's take off our masks. We can take them off." And I sat there, and I never did it. I never took it off. And I was like, "Wait a minute. What difference does it make if they were here or not? Why are we taking the mask off?" So,
right.
I was there last night from 4 till 11, and they did it again. And I said to the manager, I was like, "Dude, you got to do something about this mask stuff." I said, "For people that are pro mask, you got to do something." He was like, "Well, the policy was once people left, that you could take the mask off, and you're not in clusters. You're not in with clusters of people with breathing on you." I was just like, wow. I was like, okay. I was like, well, that gives me a whole different perspective of this place. And today I just called. I said, I ain't coming back.
Yeah.
I'm not coming back. But it was just, it's not really a huge financial burden.
Well, that's good. This is, so I understand you don't want to say who, but this is a national chain?
It's a wholesale club.
Oh, okay. That narrows it down a bit. And so
it doesn't begin with a C and it doesn't begin with a B. It begins with another letter.
Okay. And so the manager told you that the company policy, is there a way to verify whether that's actually the company policy, or was the manager just BSing you?
I could tell you right now, when I got hired, they had a whole COVID-19 video, 30-minute video that I had to watch about donning masks.
Yeah.
And there was nothing that I remember in that whole video that said that after all the customers left, you can doff your mask.
Right.
Take it off.
Yeah.
So I don't recall anything in that video stating that you could take that thing off.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know if it was a word of mouth policy to the employees from the managers there.
Mm-hmm. That's what I think.
Or if it was something that the employees all got together and said, this is what we're going to do, and they're not going to be able to fire all of us.
No,
that's what
maybe
that
too.
could be the other possibility. They pull a trumpet. So, yeah. But the reason why I was calling, do you see that the PA lawyers pulled themselves out of the whole Trump campaign lawsuit in PA?
Yeah.
And the lawyer that jumped onto it was on iHeartRadio 2 weeks ago claiming that Trump doesn't have a leg to stand on to file lawsuits, that this is going to be an open and door shut case.
Really?
And the lawyer was on iHeartRadio, who is now representing the Trump campaign in Pennsylvania to try to validate the votes.
That's weird.
Mm-hmm.
That's very weird.
And then with everything that's going on, with him firing the Homeland, security guy and all, all this stuff, I'm surprised he hasn't fired Fauci yet, Matt.
Yeah, I am too. Somewhat. I think the only thing that keeps him from firing Fauci is Fauci has a very high approval rating. People really like Fauci. But I will not be shocked if it does happen. I mean,
he'll get his job back.
Well, yeah, he'll fire Fauci, and then Biden will hire Fauci.
Take 2 months off. That's all right. I approve.
Yeah, well, actually, I think what Biden would probably do is just bring Fauci on to his coronavirus task force, which is already operating. They just are not able to interface in any way with the Trump coronavirus task force because Trump will not concede and the GSA will not certify that there needs to be a transition now, which is I'm just insane and very dangerous. But that's what I think would happen. Biden would then bring him on to Biden's coronavirus task force. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's what will happen if he were to get fired. He will be back.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I have, I'm just giving you some news that I always write stuff down to call you with.
Yeah.
You got me invested. December 14th, the electoral committees get together to finalize the votes, I guess.
Yep.
So I guess that's when we will get a final determination on all this.
Well, that's when it will be official. I don't think Trump will concede even then, though. I think Trump is going to refuse to concede all the way up to inauguration. I really do. Because he's gone this long without conceding. So I think he's just not going to do it. I think he's just going to refuse to do it.
And I watched Obama's 60-minute thing. Did you see that? That was really good.
Yeah, Jenny and I watched that. Yeah.
It was really good. I mean, I like the fact that he was like, if Biden tried to get him to sit on one of the committees or something like that, he was like, I will be getting a divorce.
Yeah.
It was like, which I didn't even know that was possible, that you could, push the next president to be part of one of your committees. I didn't even know that was possible.
Oh yeah, there's no restriction against it. I don't think it's ever happened. I'm trying to think now if there's ever been a case in history where an ex-president has in some way served in a cabinet. I mean, it happened on that show there that Kiefer Sutherland. Designated Survivor. It happened on that show, but but I don't think it's ever happened in real life where an ex-president has gone back and served in the cabinet or even as a consultant or anything.
I think it would be pretty cool to see though. Just think.
Yeah, I mean, and Obama's still a young man. I mean, he's not even 60 years old, so there's a lot left he could he could contribute. But yep, he said Michelle would leave him. She doesn't want him going back into that. So
I didn't mean to call that one caller the other day last week a D-bag. I was hot and I was bothered when I said that.
Yeah, that's okay. That's all right.
About that. But I can't, and maybe he'll call right now after I said it, I can't stand trumpet players, dude. I can't stand them. They're so blind.
I know.
They're so blind. And, like, your president, not my president, your president, has literally not said a thing about these rising, surging cases. I mean, this is worse than what it was before.
Yeah.
Hospitals are overwhelmed down here now. Cases are at like 5,500 a day.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the death toll is rising dramatically every day.
It's worse than it's ever been.
Yes, and I'm seeing Boston. I'm seeing New York is starting to climb. And, like, even if you want to literally shut down the country, you're not going to get a hold of it right now because of just no one's listening. Everyone's listening to the trumpet stuff, you know, the Trumpism and all this. And it was yesterday that I saw that the last speech that Trump gave about something that was in regards to the coronavirus was to a news person who was wearing a mask, and he said, "Oh, you're wearing a mask?" Like, you know, it's like the Republicans are all anti-maskers.
Yeah. Not all, but
well, not all, but for a majority of it, it's like if you wear a mask, they know it's like you're automatically pointed out as a Democrat. That's what it feels like today.
Yeah,
that's what it feels like. You know, and you know the briefing that I'm talking about when Trump pointed out the one news person that was wearing a mask and everyone else in the room wasn't wearing a mask.
Well, was it because he did that briefing recently to announce the Pfizer? To talk about the Pfizer vaccine? Is that what you're talking about?
She was a Fox correspondent. I know that.
Oh.
I forget her name.
I actually missed that. That was recent? His comment to the reporter about wearing a mask?
It was probably about 3 weeks ago.
Okay. No, I missed that. The last thing I saw was...
God, that's how long it's been since he said anything. I mean, you know...
Well,
3 weeks?
Wasn't his press briefing with announcing the Pfizer vaccine and trying to take credit for it with warp speed? Wasn't that just a couple of weeks ago?
That was last week, but it's like an actual news conference that he took questions on.
Oh, okay.
Like he hasn't taken any questions in weeks.
Right. Yeah. Well, he doesn't want to be.
I think this even goes back to like a week before the election.
Okay. Probably.
Like the last time he actually took like questions at a conference because he had the memorial that he just went to, and they're saying he's going to do the turkey pardoning coming up here, and you know that's what is on his agenda. You know, there's no actual public appearances or anything, no speaking. I mean, we're in the blind right now, Matt. We're in the blind. I mean, I don't want to say that we're fending for our own because thanks to local governments and, you know, governors, like I know the governor down here has taken this under his wing and said, all right, well, you know, do what we got to do. And he's had a presser every day. Yeah. And that's who I'm listening to.
Right.
I mean, I'll tell you what, if Governor Wolf says that the vaccine is good and we're good to go, that's who I'm listening to, bro. Like if he says it's good, we can take the vaccine. There's been trials. I talk to doctors. I talk to the science because he believes in the science. That's who I'm going to listen to. I'm not going to listen to someone tells me to inject bleach. So I go back to that all the time, man, because after that day, that was it, man. Yeah, that was it.
Well, to be fair, Tony, Trump never actually said. I mean, what he did say was almost as insane. He never actually said to inject bleach. He just said that, you know, it's something that maybe the researchers should look into, which is still pretty nuts. And
what was it? It was that. See, that's the thing. Like, I'm not politically correct, so when I hear someone say something, I don't really look at it. I look at it as, oh, look what he just said. Yeah. He said that, and then he said something about UV light or something like that. Maybe we can get UV light in our body.
Right.
Let's go sit in a tanning bed and we'll kill the coronavirus. You know?
Yeah. Well, it's also indicative. It's just funny that he would think of these things, and then in his mind, he thinks they're worth suggesting because he actually thinks that maybe this is something that nobody else has thought of. You know,
Right.
like when he turns to Dr. Birx and says, you know, about the disinfectant, you know, maybe that's something you should look into if there's a way to somehow get that into the body safely. Then it's like, dude, if that were possible, I'm pretty sure somebody else would have already thought of it, you know, if there's some way to do that. Like, but he thinks he's
The best
smart.
stuff that I've seen is like some of the pressers on the coronavirus, and you have Fauci in the background. You just saw Fauci put his hand over his face.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like he did the slow easy G hand over the face. Like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So,
Oh.
anywho, that's what I got, man. I'm just waiting to see this guy concede, and maybe we're not going to see it, but I keep telling everyone I'd be interested to see him be escorted out of the White House. So it'd be kind of
That would be fun. That would be fun. Yeah.
Would you not mind seeing that?
Well, I'd love to see that, him carried out.
Just the icing on the cake for him.
Yeah. I don't think that'll happen.
And Lindsey Graham, like this guy, oh man.
Oh, yeah.
Him and Ted Cruz. What?
I know.
A Harvard graduate, and you're like, what? Unbelievable.
I know.
Unbelievable. Anyway, Matt, I'm gonna let you go. Enjoy the show, and I'll be tuning in, bro.
All right, my friend. Thank you so much for the call.
All right, later, bro.
All right, bye-bye. All right, Tony D from the Tony D Show in Philadelphia. Always nice to hear from Tony. Let's see. Bobby Champagne is in the Facebook live chat. Bobby's is a top fan. Says good afternoon, all. Stacie is in the Facebook live chat. Let's see. We heard from Stacie earlier. Mike Pelopita says, Peter keeps the whiskey in the top left drawer. If it's not there, check the news desk. Daryl had it last. I didn't know there was whiskey. Oh my goodness. Now, I'm not sure what the FCC regulations are on, if I could consume that, but I thank you for sharing that, Mike. I wish I had known before I went and got that water. Peter, of course, host of The Morning Show with Peter White, which you can hear weekday mornings from 7 to 9 a.m. with a replay from 2 to 4 p.m. if you miss this show. That reminds me, too, while we're talking about programming notes, EZG, and I see Tony D in the Facebook live chat asking about EZG. He will not be here this week. He was supposed to be coming in tomorrow to do his entertainment report this week, but he's, he has his health struggles. So he messaged me earlier, says he wants to take this week off to rest, and he'll be here Wednesday of next week, 1 week from today. We will be graced with the presence of EZG. Also want to remind everybody, of course, too, Friday nights at 8 p.m., Retro Spectrum Radio with Paulie C. And I have the honor and privilege of being Paul's co-host on that program, along with our friend Dan Randlett. So that is Friday nights, 2 hours from 8 to 10 p.m. right here on WMNH. Let's see. Bobby Champagne says, I need to get on Twitter, LOL. Yes, it's what all the cool kids are doing. Oh, except Brian Mackey says, it's a mess. I deleted my Twitter account. Angela Philbrook says, I am on Twitter, never tweeted, never tweeted, just a Twitter creeper. Let's see. Whoops, I just scrolled down a whole lot more than I meant to. I just want to make sure I don't miss anybody here. Wayne Noel, who is a top fan all the way from Michigan, is in the Facebook live chat. Hello, sir. Jenny is in the Facebook live chat. Jenny says, shalom, running a little late today. Bobby Champagne says, bonjour. I think that's how you say it. It looks like bonjours, but I think it's bonjour or something. Is that how you say? That's French, right? I don't speak French. Brian Mackey says, I love what I have learned. I just need to give myself a break. Thank you, Matt Connarton and Jenny Coffey. Let's see. Miriam Banish, who is a top fan, joins us in the Facebook live chat and says hello. Bobby Champagne says, nice pictures from the State House today from Stacie Laughton. Yeah, Stacie posted a bunch of pictures from the State House today. Miriam says, walking my dog so I don't have to get out, so I don't have to go out when it gets colder. Yes. Yes. Chris, my old friend, Chris Penn, is in the Facebook live chat, says, love being able to watch this. Yes, well, welcome, Chris. Christian Lacoste is in the Facebook live chat, says, hi, guys, I miss you. You make it sound like you moved far away, Christian. Now, Bobby Champagne says, don't forget about Grover Cleveland, who lost re-election only to win 4 years later when he ran and won election. Yeah. Well, that's one of the theories. That's a big point of speculation, is that the reason Trump is behaving the way that he is, in terms of not conceding and, all these court fights over this election, which all seem to be doomed. The base, the trumpet players, as Tony D calls them, they actually love all this stuff. And, there's a large swath of course, of Trump's base that they're not concerned that the lack of a smooth transition between administrations is going to have a deleterious effect in terms of, getting this vaccine out in January, because, I keep reading about how much of a problem this is. Biden is trying to play it cool, and he says, we're going to work around this as the best we can. But because the General Services Administration won't sign off, I always forget the name of the woman who runs it, but she's a Trump appointee. She's a political appointee. She won't sign off on certifying this, so there can be no transition. And presumably there will be no transition process like we normally see between administrations. That's just not going to happen. It's extraordinarily important that it does happen so that Biden can hit the ground running with his coronavirus task force. They need to be able to interface with Trump's coronavirus task force, so that there's no hiccups, and it's going to set back the distribution of the vaccine, that this, unless when the Electoral College, I wonder about this, kind of a technical question that I'm not sure the answer to. I wonder if when the Electoral College certifies the election result, which is not until December, I think early or mid-December, I forget the exact date, if that then legally forces the GSA to certify so that the transition can begin, I'm not sure. But by that point, they'll have already lost several weeks of time. So, like I said, we don't have time to screw around with this. We don't have time to screw around with this just to placate Trump's ego because he's having a tantrum. We don't have time for it. But Trump knows that his base, who even though he's on his way out, he still wants to keep them happy. So, he has to look like he's fighting this. And, a large swath of that base, of course, doesn't believe that COVID is real, or they think that it's a scam so Bill Gates can microchip us, or that it's just the flu, all the crazy things they think. So Trump is still trying to keep them on board. And one of the points of speculation is it's so that he can run for re-election in 2024. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hey, Matt, it's Mike Doyle.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Hey, good. How you doing?
Good.
Hey, I'm amazed that people are still throwing out the narrative, and kudos to you for kind of setting them straight that Trump ever said inject yourself with bleach.
Oh yeah. Happened. Yeah, no, he never.
They were talking about ultraviolet light and could it get under the skin, and him rambling with his thoughts said, maybe we can do something with ultraviolet light or some kind of disinfectant under the skin, and everybody went to, he said inject. And
right. It was still anyway. What he did say was still completely absurd, but fair is fair. He never actually suggested people inject bleach. Yeah. No,
and I don't know if it's kind of off the wall. It's kind of definitely off the wall.
More than kind of.
I don't know about absurd.
No,
I mean,
it's pretty
he was
absurd.
Just talking to a head scientist saying maybe we can look into something with ultraviolet light because they just figured out that ultraviolet light was something that deterred it. So that's all. But yeah, it was off the cuff. He should have said it behind. He should have said it behind closed doors and not on a camera in front of everybody.
Yeah,
because then everybody got to run with it.
Right.
But the reason for my call is the uproar with people with Trump just wanting to get the correct count on these elections, and I don't understand what Do you remember Al Gore? I just looked it up. You know how many days he went on? 37 days.
Right.
Before he conceded.
No. Well, he didn't.
We're in week 2 with Trump. And all I know is what happened. I don't know. They're starting to find a few things here and there.
Let me clarify something, Mike. Let me clarify something about my position. If Trump can file all the lawsuits he wants, I actually have zero problem with him filing these lawsuits. And, he has every right to do that. It's not going anywhere. I think we all know. I think he knows it's not going anywhere. But if he wants to do that, I have no problem with it. And you know what? If it does end up going somewhere and it turns out all of his claims about this being a fraudulent election are true, then great. Then we overturn the election and Trump gets a second term. But in the meantime, he needs to allow the GSA to allow the transition process to begin. And then if it turns out that Trump is right, which, come on, dude, but if it turns out that Trump is right and he really won the election, then you stop the transition, you cancel the transition, and there you go. We got a second term of Trump. But in the meantime, Mike, people are going to die needlessly because we're going to be behind the 8 ball on getting these vaccines distributed. Don't you think that the Biden coronavirus task force should be able to interface with Trump's task force and get access to all this information that they need so they can hit the ground running? They need to be able to hit the ground running, Mike. We can't screw around with this. This is people's lives. Do you not agree?
Right, but I agree. But is he going to use the same task force, for one? That's one of the questions. And the other question is, don't forget. I don't mean to keep coming back to it because I know you're going to snicker and laugh. But you're talking about people dying. Don't forget, he was the one a month later said that Trump was an idiot for a xenophobe for stopping travel from China and trying to cut this thing down.
I've said
how worse off would we be? And I think Dr. Fauci said we could be at the 2 million death mark if we had left the borders open, if we left travel open.
Mike, that
came out of Fauci's mouth.
I've said all along. I've said it to you. I've said all along. I agree. That was the right call by Trump and Biden. Biden was wrong.
He stopped travel. He put together a task force of the best of the best.
Yeah.
He got all the.
I don't know about the best of the best. He's got this guy Scott Atlas, who's a quack. That guy's crazy. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But he got the people advisor. He got all the people on board.
Yeah.
With the vaccines, saying I need it rushed. And people were saying no, it's going to be a year and a half. It's going to be this. What are we in 9 months now? And
right.
It looks like we're going to have a vaccine in the next few weeks. And he's got the U.S. Army ready. They said they're 100% ready to distribute it. He's had them ready. He's paid for more vaccine than he had to through all these companies, saying whichever one of you comes up first, the other two, well, we'll write that off. But it's more important to get a vaccine right away. So I'll pay extra to have all of you go in, and except for Pfizer, who didn't accept the money. They wanted to get paid, which they got paid $2 billion on the tail end. So he's done a lot of the right things, and people keep harping on, is there a right way to do a pandemic? Is there a wrong way? Everybody's an expert now, but nobody's ever been in that spot.
So Mike, whatever positive things he's done, I'm not quarreling with you over any of those. There's been times particularly early on in the pandemic, where I've given him credit for some things. But he's also done some things that are horribly destructive. He goes around the country holding super spreader events with enormous crowds of people who do not wear masks, who don't want to wear masks. He mocks people for wearing masks. He downplays wearing masks. Even after he's had it, he makes fun of, occasionally he'll say, oh yeah, he'll like half-heartedly say, just to placate a reporter who's in his, oh yeah, I think you should wear a mask. But then he goes and he downplays it. He brushes it off. And every medical expert says that is the one most important thing, other than maybe washing your hands, the most important thing we can do. We could save 100,000 lives if everybody would just put on a mask when you're around other people in public. And Trump, at almost every opportunity, has discouraged people from doing that. And people pay attention. And these super spreader events, Mike, these super spreader events that Trump has been having, or this enormous crowd of people, 10,000 people over the weekend, Trump encourages them by driving by in his motorcade and waving it. That's a super spreader event. People are going to die because 10,000 people, not in masks, because they don't believe in wearing masks, showed up in Washington, D.C., and Trump's riding by in his motorcade and waving it. Trump has done, Mike, I give Trump credit. I'll give him credit for every single thing you did. But that doesn't change the fact that he has been far more destructive than he has helpful. I think this is the worst possible administration we could have had during a pandemic like this. He hasn't even shown up for a task force meeting in 5 months. And now he won't allow...
That's not fair now. That's not fair. Why are you saying that?
Why is that not fair?
He gets... Once the vice president goes to everyone, and he immediately fills in the president on what's going on. So isn't that the same thing? He's got other stuff to do.
He's
creating peace policies in the Mideast.
Yeah.
He's. I know you can wave your hand, you can do all that stuff, but you guys just don't want to listen. You don't want to see the facts. But listen, that wasn't what I was calling for. I was calling about the time on him not conceding the election. And do you remember Hillary a month ago telling Joe Biden publicly, no matter what you do, don't concede? Do you remember Al Gore not giving up for 37 days with his lawsuits and chads and all that stuff?
Well, that was both. That's Mike. That was both Al Gore and George W. Bush. It was.
Yeah, I understand. Well,
but nobody. There was no winner. There was no winner yet. There was no winner until that was done. We know who won this election. Let the transition happen. I have no problem. Trump can file whatever lawsuits he wants to. Great. You know what? If he honestly thinks there's a problem, great. I want fair elections. I don't want any fraud, Mike. I don't want that. But you got to let the transition happen. We're playing with people's lives here. You can't possibly be okay with that.
This is what I know. This is two things. This is what I know. I was watching the election on the night of the election, and even CNN was giving up. Trump was pulling away at one point in both Michigan, Wisconsin, etc. And I was following Vegas odds. Vegas doesn't usually put out odds, and they're usually not that far off. And the Vegas odds went from 60-40 Trump to 70-30 Trump. That's when I went to bed. I get up the next morning. It was a complete switch and it went up. The graphs completely flipped and went all to Biden in the middle of the night.
But you know why?
That just raises some questions. If you were running, wouldn't you raise a question to you when you say, wait a minute. I went to bed, I was winning. Well, now I'm getting crushed.
Well,
how did that happen?
That's what everyone predicted. There would be a red mirage because Republicans voted in person. And I'm speaking very broadly and generally when I say this, but Republicans voted in person, Democrats voted by mail. Right.
And they said that the places that can count first, you're going to see a red mirage early. People are saying it, and then the people who voted in kind, you're going to see a little bit of an edge to Trump later. That was the original thought, that 60-40, 65-35.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of
for Democrats, and then Trump would get a little bump at the end when people bet. All I know is that's why he doesn't want to give up. It looks suspicious. That's all I'm saying. You got to admit, it looks suspicious.
No, I don't have to admit that. Mike, if the Democrats...
he had big leads. He had big leads in Wisconsin, Michigan, Georgia, Pennsylvania. And then the sun comes up in the morning.
I don't know if he had
big leads. And that all goes away.
Yeah, Mike, I'll tell you what, if the Democrats stole this election, they did it pretty incompetently. They managed to steal the election for Trump, but they forgot. They managed to steal the election for Biden, but they forgot to steal it for Jamie Harrison, who looked like he had a good shot at knocking off Lindsey Graham in South Carolina. They forgot to steal it for they forgot to steal it for Amy McGrath, who looked like she might be able to knock off Mitch McConnell in Kentucky. They only stole it for Biden, and they forgot to steal it for everyone else. Come on.
Well, wait. What about all the seats they picked up in Congress?
That who picked up?
The Republicans.
Right.
There was supposed to be a red wave in Congress, and they were going to have and they ended up picking up 13 seats in Congress.
Well, you're kind of making my point for me.
No, these people are undercard. Republicans are winning,
right?
But your people are all checking off these people on the undercard. But when they get to the top of the ticket, they're checking off Biden.
Yeah,
is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think a lot of Republicans voted for Biden. A lot of Republicans, well, and also independents, Mike. I mean,
Yeah, I understand.
Remember,
I don't know what the ratio of independents were. All I'm trying to tell you is what happened was he had a pretty good lead at one point.
Yeah.
Even CNN was saying, well, you got to count all the votes. It doesn't look good, but you got to count all the votes. And I go to bed. Vegas ups the odds. Trump's got a little bit of a lead and pulling away a little bit. And then we get up in the morning and everything flipped. That's why and I can understand it, that's why he just wants to look under every rock and say, I want to make sure this was a legit election.
Mike.
I don't know what is so hard for the people to understand about that.
Not hard for me. Go ahead. I don't care what he does. I don't care if Trump goes to Mar-a-Lago for Thanksgiving and just never comes back. I don't care if he does another single thing except for filing lawsuits, and that's all he does for the rest of his presidency, as long as he just signs off on the transition. Let the transition happen. And then if by some miracle we find out, Trump really did all these states, it was all fraud, and he really won, then you cancel the transition and Trump gets his second term. I think that's fair.
Yeah. I don't know. I understand what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying. I'm just trying to give you an idea of where he's coming from, I think.
Well, I think
that he had a lead and all of a sudden it just evaporated in the middle of the night.
Well, it didn't just all of a sudden.
It's a little questionable, that's all.
Okay.
That's all. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, who cheated, who didn't. I'm not saying any of it. I'm just saying that's what happened. So, But anyways, good conversation, as usual.
All right, Mike. Well, I always appreciate the call, my friend.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
All right, man. Take care. Bye-bye. All right, Mike Doyle. I think Mike had called into the morning show today too, but no, I mean, like I said, I don't care. Trump can file whatever lawsuits he wants to, but this is sociopathic behavior to not allow the transition to take place. We don't have time to screw around with this. And Mike bringing up 2000, Bush versus Gore. Well, Al Gore not conceding. Well, George W. Bush wasn't conceding either. No one was conceding until the Supreme Court stepped in. But there was no incumbent president. So there was no one to see. In this case, we know who won fine. I'll say it this way. We know who appears to have won, and we know that to be Joe Biden. In the case of Bush versus Gore, we didn't know. But this we know. We know who the Electoral College, when they meet in December, we know who they're going to certify as the winner of the 2020 election. We know that. So you have to let the transition take place. In 2000, who was, it was the end of the Clinton administration. Who was the Clinton administration going to allow the transition to begin with when there is no apparent winner until the Supreme Court stepped in and said, "No, you don't have to count those votes in Florida. Don't worry about it. We're just going to let them call it for Bush," which is a whole other subject we could do an entire show on, but the hanging chads and all that. So it's not an apt comparison. There is no comparison. And by the way, it is interesting that, and I say this with some skepticism, but some have pointed out that it is in the 9/11 report that a theory is posited that part of why we were unprepared for 9/11 was because of the delay in the transition that happened in 2000. So U.S. intelligence agencies were not fully up to speed by September of that year of 2001 because the transition had been delayed. And of course, in that case, the transition being delayed was unavoidable because we didn't have a clear winner in the election. But so that's a completely different situation. But we have a clear winner here. So Trump can do whatever he wants. He can file whatever lawsuits he wants. He can fire whoever he wants out of vengeance and, try to settle those scores. He can withdraw, although I don't agree with it. That's a whole other subject. Maybe we'll get into that in the second hour. He can withdraw troops, leave a nice mess for the Biden administration to figure out. But he's got to allow the transition to begin, and he's not going to, and people are going to die because of it. And this man is a sociopath. He doesn't care. All he cares about is himself, and people have to die because he's having a prolonged temper tantrum about losing the election. And does anyone really well, it doesn't matter. You know what? Let's take a break. And we will be back. I have something. I want to make sure I have it ready. John D. Domenico continues to be my absolute favorite Trump impersonator ever. I always get very excited when he releases something new. And he's got something new today. And I thought I had this ready. I apologize. But I'll play this for you. And then we'll take a quick break. We'll listen to some John D. Domenico, and we will show some love to our sponsors. And then we will be back with our number 2 numero dos of Matt Connarton Unleashed. We are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM.
Hello, everybody. Put your hands down. I'm not calling on you. It's not a press conference. It's something totally different. And it's not even for you. I don't even know why you're here. Hello, everybody. Do I look familiar? Perhaps you recognize me, your favorite president of all time. I'm on the TV a lot, and I just won my second term as president because 74 million Americans voted for me. More than any other president in history. And you know that. Plus, there were over 1 million people at the Million MAGA March in D.C. I waved to them as I drove by. I was on a way to play a round of golf at my tremendous Trump International Golf Course. It's a great course. It's a beautiful course. Now, I would have stopped and talked to the people, but it's very hard to get a tee time at my course, even for me. Now, people tell me I'm not supposed to promote my businesses at the White House, but who cares, okay? What are they going to do, right? Throw me out on January 20th? I don't think so. Even though I won, the fake news and the terrible, radical leftist Democrats are going to try to evict me, even though I've done a fantastic job on the Kung Flu from Wang Chung. Really sad. Now, thankfully, because of my tremendous leadership, there are now two vaccines with 90% and 94% effectiveness. Together, they are 184% effective. But first, let's talk about these horrible people at Pfizer. Stupid name, by the way. There is no reason there is an F in their name. That should be an H. I'm smart when it comes to words. I have the best words. I put them in the best order. Like the word ungrateful. They don't want to give me any credit. just because they didn't take any money and they have no connection to the Warp Speed program. I don't like that. I don't like that. They wouldn't even be working on a vaccine if it wasn't for me. They would be working on another boner pill. That's right, Pfizer. I know what you do. I know what you do, and it's sad. No one even used the word vaccine until I started using the word vaccine. I practically invented the word vaccine, right, Kaylee? See that? Now, from what I understand, the two scientists who made this mediocre vaccine voted for Sleepy Joe. Sleepy Joe with illegal ballots because they're in another country and they're not even Americans. Illegal immigrant scientists who voted for Joe Biden. Surprise, surprise. So I want nothing to do with this vaccine, especially because I can't make any money on it. So I am recommending that no one take this communist Pfizer vaccine, which many, many doctor people, and I know many, many doctor people, are saying that this one, if they give you the shot, will make you gay and turn you into a radical leftist, anti-democrat, Antifa member who carry nunchucks. Nunchucks. I don't think we need any more people with the nunchucks. Now listen. This is a great country, a tremendous country, a fantastic country, made better by the fact that I'm in charge. I'm in charge. I'm the boss. I'm the boss. I'm the head honcho. I'm the big cheese. I'm the chairman of the board. I'm the big kahuna, the kingpin. And for the Latinos, the big enchilada or Latinx. I don't know when they added the X. The kingfish for the vegans. Mr. Big, top dog, cock of the walk. Plus so many more. That's why I'm so thrilled to tell you about an exciting new money-making opportunity. As your president, I want to get you in on the ground floor. It's big money. It's big, big money. Now, when I first got to Walter Reed, I have to tell you, I have to be honest, I felt like crap. I mean, I was really dragging my presidential ass from the COVID. I felt really, really bad. I was knocking on heaven's door. I'm assuming it was heaven. It was a really nice door. It was a nice door, like a Trump luxury spa. And I could hear my father's voice, so I'm pretty sure it was him. The doctor said they had a miracle drug, but only 9 people on the planet were taking it. This doctor, who, by the way, looked like he was out of Central Casting. Am I right, Kaylee? This was a good-looking guy, if you're into that. He said, sir, it's extremely dangerous, sir. Very volatile, sir. Unproven. Totally experimental, sir. I said, sign me up. Sign me up, Dr. Good-looking. He said, oh, well, sir, President, sir. No, we can't do that. I said, yes. He said, no again. But I am a tremendous deal maker, and all the doctors folded like card tables when I threatened to ruin their lives in a series of horrible tweets. They gave me the drug, and I felt fantastic. It's called Regeneron. And they were pumping it into my veins for the very first time, and my eyes rolled back in my head, like the time I was with Stormy. And I felt immediately euphoric. And I have to tell you, that is not a word that I use, but there's no other word, euphoric. So we have Regeneron. It's incredible and available now. I want everyone to have Regeneron. Even if you don't have COVID, you should be on Regeneron. Believe me, you should be on this. I'm going to be on this forever. I am hooked. In fact, Kaylee set me up with another shot, okay? Thank you. It's an absolutely incredible drug. Everyone should have a mega dose of Regeneron, 2 scoops of ice cream, a hot wife, and a pony. It's really, really amazing. Regeneron. I just love saying it. This is going to have explosive growth. It's going to happen with or without you. This is a ground floor opportunity. Are you a winner? Are you a loser? Look. Not everyone's cut out to be a successful millionaire and even a billionaire like myself. I'm so rich, I have to tell you. I've ordered production of Regeneron to run 24 hours a day. I've ordered millions and millions of dosages. Is it dosages? Dosages or doses? Okay, dosages. I want everyone hooked on this because you will feel great. I mean, I could lift a car right now. I haven't slept in weeks. I had 18 holes in one. My tongue tastes like rubber, and I'm becoming a more stable genius even if that's possible. Is that possible? On Regeneron it is. I've always gotten a lot done, but now I am getting even more done on Regeneron. It's like the drug from the movie Limitless with Bradley Cooper, but this is far more addictive. They call Regeneron a therapeutic, but I have to tell you, it's not a therapeutic. It's a cure. It's a miracle cure. And I think they named it wrong. I don't think these scientists and doctors know what the hell they're talking about. I think the word therapeutic is a fake news word. It should be called curapeutic or theracure. Oh, I like that. Kaylee, write that one down. Theracure. Now, I've been pressuring the CDC to approve this drug incredibly fast. I sent over my two best guys, Rocco and Butchie, to lean on those nerds. If they know it's good for them, they'll do it. Now, who cares about the side effects when you are rock hard 24/7? Me getting COVID was a blessing from God. He's a great guy. Now, at first, I thought he made a terrible mistake. I don't make mistakes, but God makes mistakes. He makes mistakes. But now I know it was actually a blessing. It was a blessing. Now, listen, the real issue with Regeneron is that we need distribution as quickly as humanly possible so we can make money. I want everyone to have supersonic hearing just like, someone's talking about me. Melania's talking about me. You need to be on Regeneron. You need to be on the Regeneron money rocket, but you must be a self-starter and motivated. I want to get you what I got for free. Now, you're not going to pay for it, and I'll tell you how. It's simple, okay? It will be free. Now, somebody says, wait, that's socialized medicine. I said free is not socialized. Free is free. Listen, this whole thing with China, with the Kung Flu, it wasn't my fault. It wasn't your fault. I don't take responsibility, okay? And I don't take the blame. It truly is China's fault, okay? Now, the military is supposed to be doing the distribution. They call it logistics. Stupid word. I think it's French. I never liked logistics, but that's how things are moved around, logistics. But I have a much better idea how to get this distributed quickly, and make some big money at the same time. That's not just me making money. No. It's not just the United States, but all of you. It's called residual income, passive income. Now, I've put together an incredible multi-level marketing plan for Regeneron. It's direct sales. And you'll all be going to make a lot of money. You're going to be making a lot of money. I mean, big league money in multi-level marketing. Now, I will be at the top because, like I said, I'm the boss. But you can be your own boss, okay? Work as little or as much as you want. Honestly, this stuff will sell itself. Trump Regeneron is not approved by the FDA yet, which proves it works because I don't trust the government. Or the people who run it, and neither should you. So we'll do everything in cash. Believe me, you do not want a paper trail on this. You don't want that. Your minimum buy-in is $5,000, and that's for 5 doses of Regeneron. You can resell those for any amount you like. Feel free to gouge. But if you sell 4 at $1,500, your dose is free. Not socialism, capitalism. Come by the Trump International Hotel, D.C. Bring a friend. We'll be there 24 hours a day. Cash only. We do not want the IRS involved in this. I certainly don't. You'll be able to pick up your Regeneron starter kit with 5 doses and some other liability paperwork you're going to have to sign. But believe me, it's the standard boilerplate agreement stating that you will buy $5,000 worth of Trump Regeneron every week for the next 52 weeks for $260,000. If not, Rudy will sue you like he did Pennsylvania and Nevada. But listen. That won't happen. Because you will make so much money like we did with Trump Mortgage, right? Trump Mortgage was tremendous. Oh, again, Cash only. Cash only. I love cash. I love cash. Me and cash are BFFs. The important thing here is not just to sell Regeneron, which you're going to make a killing on. You're going to make a killing on this. Believe me, so much money, but also to recruit new distributors so that you can be the boss. You can be the boss. You'll get a percentage of their sales. Recruit, recruit, recruit. That's right. So keep them motivated, just like I did with the threat of a lawsuit. They recruit even more people, and you and I will make even more money. Multi-level marketing is a proven way for the people at the top to make a lot of money. Who knows? You may even make more money than me. I doubt it. I doubt it. Listen, everyone you recruit will be in your downline. Your downline. Me, Ivanka, Jared, Don Jr., and Eric will be in your upline. When we say jump, you say, how high? But remember, you're an independent contractor. You have to take care of your own taxes. Mine are still under audit. This is truly an incredible ground floor opportunity to sell a fantastic branded Trump product like Trump Steaks, Trump Vodka, Trump Mortgages, Trump Ice, Trump University, and none of these we've ever had any legal problems with. We've retired all of those very successful products to focus on Trump Regeneron. Trump Regeneron. Trump Regeneron. I like the way it sounds. It's not a pyramid scheme, even though it's set up just like a pyramid scheme. With Trump Regeneron, we have what the country needs, and the country wants it desperately, because if it works, they'll be addicted to it. How do you regenerate the greatest economy in history? It's easy with Regeneron. Get ready to make a lot of money. So much winning. Thank you. Thank you. No questions. What did I say? What did I say? I'm not calling on you. I'm not. Kaylee, a Diet Coke and a shot of Regeneron, please. Thank you.
Come on down to the Hop Knot at 1000 Elm Street, Manchester's premier craft beer and gourmet pretzel bar. Tell us more, Trudy.
We make our dough fresh every day. We make a variety of styles of pretzels and serve craft beer, cocktails, and a few bottles of wine. We do the traditional pretzel, and we have multiple flavors for that. We also do stuffed pretzels, pretzel sandwiches, free dessert pretzels, and pretzel knots.
The Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan Plaza at 1000 Elm Street.
Bring your kitchen to life with Queen City Cabinetry, located at 87 Elm Street in the historic Sunbeam Mall in Manchester. Open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They can be reached at 603-222-2007 or on the web at queencitycabinetrynh.com. Come see the possibilities. Queen City Cabinetry, another proud sponsor of WMNH.
Hey, it's Kyle from Off the Mark Sports. Do you have an interest in learning a new language? LanguageMingle.com is the easy and affordable way to learn. With online learning from expert instructors, LanguageMingle.com will have you speaking with confidence in no time. From Spanish to French and even Arabic, LanguageMingle.com is the best website to learn a new language and is locally based here in New Hampshire. Whether learning for business or pleasure, book your free trial today just to see how easy it is to learn a new language. LanguageMingle.com, the official sponsor of Off the Mark Sports.
This hour on WMNH is sponsored by CGI Business Solutions, located at 5 Dartmouth Drive in Auburn. They serve all your business needs, including employee benefits planning, corporate design and business administration, investments and wealth management, and customized business insurance solutions. Their phone number is 866-841-4600 or on the web at cgibusinesssolutions.com.
Американская фирма Conceptor Technology приступила к производству компьютеров.
Oh yeah, people are starting to tune in. We've been getting tons of feedback about the show.
Oh, slow down. Oh, yeah.
I was listening last weekend. My mirror smashed, lights were flickering. That is not a good time. All the songs, they all ran into each other. What good is that?
Should have been gone!
But you don't remix a mix of a mix. Listening last Saturday, all of a sudden, spaceship outside my window, bright light, boom, tractor beam, pulled my kid straight out the window. The word is out. Late Night Delight with DJ Midas, Saturday and Sundays at midnight, right here on WMNH Manchester.
WMNH, rip the knob off.
Very, very large brain. He said, Donald Trump, they don't know what to do. Never happened.
Welcome back, everybody. We are well into hour number 2, numero dose of Matt Connarton Unleashed, and we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Also on Comcast 97 in Manchester, streaming at WMNHradio.org and on the Facebook on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. It is Wednesday, November 18, 2020. By the way, John Midas Manning, better known as DJ Midas in the Facebook live chat, says, I love the theme music. Yep, that was done for us. It's been a few weeks now. Matt DaCosta created that for us from Intrepid Acoustics. You can check him out at intrepidacoustics.com. A very, very talented gentleman. He produced that theme for us, and I remember he played it for me, and he's like, let me know, tell me, give me some feedback. Tell me if this is kind of what you had in mind. And I heard it and I said, yep, that's it. I didn't even have to think about it. I loved it immediately. So shout out to him. We're very appreciative of that. Midas, of course, part of the WMNH family here. He's got a show called Late Night Delight, which you can hear every Saturday night beginning at 12 midnight all the way to 4 a.m. with a replay on Sunday night. Very interesting comment in the Facebook live chat. Well, there's always interesting comments in there that I want to address, but let me give the numbers, 603-250-6007 if you'd like to call in, 603-250-6007. You can also send a text to 617-917-4476 if you prefer. You can tweet me at Matt Connarton or send an email to matt@mattconnerton.com. And of course, you can always interact and opine in the Facebook live chat. But we'd love it if you call us at 603-250-6007. And someone is calling us right now, as a matter of fact. We'll take this call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hi, Matt. This is Karen. How are you?
Good, Karen. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I just had to call because I was listening to Mike Doyle, and I've never met the man, but my family has, and he's a very nice man.
Yes.
And sometimes it really irks me that he's just so misguided and loves Trump so much. But things that bother me the most, what he said, like he went to bed, and then when he got up, Biden was winning. Mr. Doyle loves horse racing. My father did too. And everybody knows in a horse race, the one that is supposed to win can be out front, and then all of a sudden, in a blink in the eye, the long shot comes from behind and wins.
Right.
So, to say that something had to happen because when he went to bed and even Vegas odds had Trump winning doesn't really mean anything.
Oh, of course, yeah. Yeah.
And then the other thing is, everybody loves to say, well, Trump did the right thing by banning the travel from China, okay? First of all, he didn't ban it early enough, and he really didn't ban it. He restricted it. And he wasn't the first, like he said he was. There were other countries that did it. And he only banned the foreign nationals from China. But all Americans and permanent residents of the United States, they were allowed to come in from China, even during his ban.
Yeah.
And he also let European countries come in. He didn't even do any type of restriction for any of the European nations until March 12th.
Mm-hmm.
So he really didn't stop anything because it was already in China. He let almost 40,000 people come back even when his restrictions went up.
Sure.
With the honor system that they would quarantine themselves.
Yeah.
On the honor system. So
right.
to me, that, if any of them, even 2 or 3 of them, might have had it, and if they were Trump believers and this was all fake, they didn't quarantine themselves.
Well, I think to Mike's point, though, I think that, doing something is better than doing nothing. So I think he's trying to say, well, Trump did some things. But the details do matter. So I'm glad that you bring them up. But having said that, I mean, the thing that I was just trying to get across to Mike is, whatever Trump has done right, he's also done so much wrong. I mean, just the downplaying of the virus itself and mocking people for wearing masks. I occasionally I'll hear people say, oh yeah, Republicans and Democrats both, they've politicized mask wearing, and it's like, no. Only Republicans are responsible for that, or specifically Trump is responsible for that. He did it the moment that he said to that reporter, I think if you're wearing a mask, it's a political statement against me, and he's right. Done that kind of thing consistently. So, I think, I did try to give Trump credit for some things early on. But what he's done wrong has been so much more destructive, and this issue we're facing now, where people are going to have to die because Trump won't sign off on this transition, and he's made it all about himself and his own ego. It's sociopathic. It's evil.
Oh yeah, definitely. And as far as comparing this to Al Gore, I remember the whole thing, but I really wasn't following it at that time. But Al Gore wasn't president. You know what I mean? So
yeah, exactly.
He really didn't have power to stop anything like Trump does.
Right, exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
So, comparing the two of that, that's really not a comparison that even can be used with Trump, because, Trump is unfortunately the president, and anybody elected by or appointed by him isn't doing anything. And Al Gore couldn't stop any of that, even if he wanted to. I mean, he could say, I want the count, but he couldn't stop any transition.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so it's not a fair comparison at all. There actually is no comparison to this. We're in completely uncharted waters here, Karen. We've never seen anything like this. We've never seen a president behave this way. Usually when there's a transition, presidents are very gracious. I don't know of another example of this from American history.
Yeah, I don't either. And it is true. It's truly sad for the American people, because we do need somebody working on the coronavirus. We definitely need it, and Trump is stopping it to the point where he really doesn't care. So why he's stopping the transition with that, it makes no sense, because he truly doesn't care,
Well, I think his play is because he knows, that look, we like to say, Joe Biden got more votes than any other presidential candidate in American history. But the person who got the second most votes of any presidential candidate in American history is Trump. So, regardless of him losing the election, he's got an enormous base. And those people are going to stick with him. Mike Doyle is clearly sticking with him. And there's millions and millions of Mike Doyles out there who are fine with how Trump proceeds. And, I think he wants to maintain that fan base for whatever he does immediately after the election, which there's been a lot of speculation. He's going to start some sort of media conglomerate to compete with Fox and, everyone who he feels was supposed to have his back but didn't. And also that he's probably going to run for president again in 2024, which I personally had not dreamt of occurring. But then I realized, no, there's a lot of chatter out there about, he's not going away. I was hoping he would just go away, but apparently he's not going away. So I think that's what he cares about. It's very on brand for him not to be concerned about the consequences that this has for the American people. Because as long as his base sticks with him, that's what matters from a business standpoint to Trump.
But aren't there a lot of legal things going on out there just waiting for him to step out of the White House?
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. Yeah, he may not have an opportunity to run in 2024 because he might be locked up. Yeah, I mean, I've said all along, I think there's a very good chance that once he is no longer president, the state of New York Attorney General's office will move to indict him. Because it's no secret that they have multiple investigations going, and his whole family might be in a lot of trouble. And there's nothing anybody can do to save him. It's not like I see people online speculating, oh, maybe he'll resign and then Mike Pence will pardon him. Doesn't matter, because these are state crimes that he'll be charged for by the state of New York, not federal crimes. No one will be able to save him. I mean, as far as state crimes go, the only person who could pardon him then in New York would be Andrew Cuomo, and that's not going to happen.
Definitely not going to happen.
No.
But even if they were federal crimes, he wouldn't do that anyways, because he would have to say he did something wrong, and we all know there is no way that I've done something wrong can come out of his mouth.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
And actually, once he's not president and he's out of that White House, it's his family that has to be very careful, because we all know he will throw anybody under the bus to save himself.
You think he would do that to Don Jr. and Ivanka and Eric? Tiffany's probably the smartest of the bunch, because she sort of has kept herself somewhat sequestered from the family business. But you think he'd do that to his own kids?
I think he would do it in a second.
He very well may. He very well may.
It's the only way he's going to save himself, and I think he would do it in a second. So if I were his children, I would like start making deals now before he steps out of that White House.
Yeah, well, they're all in trouble with him. I mean, there was a judge in New York who ruled that none of them, not Trump, not Don Jr., not Eric, not Ivanka, none of them are ever allowed to sit on a board of any kind of charity or run any kind of charity ever again in New York, because they got caught self-dealing, which is very illegal.
Oh, yeah.
But that's just one log on that fire. I'm telling you, I do think that the state of New York is going to move to indict him once he's no longer president.
We can only hope, right?
Yeah. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see.
Well, like I said, we can only hope. And I do want to say, like I said, I've never met Mr. Doyle. My family has. He actually did trivia with Daryl and Ben's team.
Oh.
And my niece is at Wilson School with his daughter. He is a fantastic person, and I sometimes when I stay in the Facebook live room and people are like saying things, just remember he's really a nice guy. He's just a little bit misguided.
No, I like Mike very much. I consider him a friend. I have a soft spot for him ever since, when Peter White and I and Daryl Dion and some others, we were doing the primary coverage, the primary election coverage down at the Doubletree. We were on Radio Row for that with the rest of the media. And Mike Doyle showed up with a pizza one day. And and this won't surprise, if Jenny's still listening, this won't surprise her at all, because she has seen this exact scenario. Most of that pizza ended up in my stomach. So I was very appreciative to Mike Doyle for that. And, the way to really, I always say it's my stomach's world and you all just live in it. And and I think Mike understood that. And I was very, very grateful to him.
Yep, he is. He's a very kind man. I've heard other people, things he's done for other people.
Oh,
so
yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Even though I don't understand, and a lot of the supporters, I've tried all these years to okay, you're misguided, but I'll try to like you. I don't like them, but even though Mike Doyle's misguided, I do like him.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. He's a big teddy bear. I had my best conversation was with Mike Doyle, and, he's welcome anytime. Maybe he's waiting for COVID to be over, but there was one day, I don't know if you were listening. This was quite a while ago, actually. It's probably a couple of years ago now. But there was one day he came to the studio, and he was my guest. He sat in live on the show that day, and we had a great conversation.
Oh yeah, definitely. He does have good conversations, And I have to give you credit. You do too, because you listen and you give your opinion back towards him, to him, but he also listens too. I mean, he doesn't try to like shout over anybody. He listens also, which is a lot easier in station than over the phone.
Oh yeah.
But he is a very good person to have a conversation with, because you're not going to change his mind on this subject, but he will at least listen, and discuss things that way.
Oh, absolutely. And I think he's reasonable. Like, I don't think his reverence for Trump is reasonable. I don't think anyone's reverence for Trump is reasonable. But I think ideologically, at least my impression from the one time that he came in here with me and we talked for the 2-hour show, I came away from that with the impression, and if I'm wrong, I'm sure he'll call and correct me, but I don't think he's particularly conservative. I mean, he's certainly a Republican, but I think he strikes me as kind of a moderate guy. I don't think he's like a right winger. You know what I mean? I think he's a fairly moderate. That was my impression. Like, he had nice things to say about Bill Clinton, for example. So, a conservative wouldn't do that. That's more of a moderate Republican, if you can actually find something nice to say about Bill Clinton. So, I don't know. That's my perception of him. I don't think he's like some right-wing lunatic.
Oh, no, I don't either.
No.
I don't either. And it's just too bad that Trump has, caused the separation that, I mean, there's always been a Democrat and a Republican Party, and everybody sticks to their party, but it's more so now, and it's really too bad that the separation is so evident now.
Oh, yeah.
And people are really hateful to each other, and that's really too bad.
It is, yeah. We're more polarized than ever. I don't remember it ever being this bad.
No, I don't either. And I grew up with a father who was Democrat. He was Democrat no matter what. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he also taught me that, by example, that even though he was Democrat through and through and would argue, you through and through, kind of like Mike Doyle, has the support for Trump. But I do have to say, in a way, my dad was different, because he would change his opinion based on what he heard, even if it wasn't his party. And if more people did it that way, and that's what he taught me to do, and if more people would do it that way, I think we'd be better off.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. No question about it. Maybe we'll get there someday.
Maybe we will. I hope so.
Yeah.
And I do hope Trump is behind bars for the next election, and we don't have to worry about him.
I think he would look very nice in an orange jumpsuit. It would really complement his skin tone.
I think he would too. But you know what? You can't say that it would match his hair anymore, because if you notice, the last time he's on TV, he's kind of let the orangeness grow out of his hair.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He wouldn't be able to have that hairstyle in prison, probably, I assume.
Probably not.
Maybe him and Paul Manafort can be cellmates or something. That'd be...
Well, and if Mike Doyle is listening, I don't mean to like ruffle any feathers or anything, but it just, when people start saying, he did the travel ban and nobody wanted him to, there was a lot of, yes, he did it a little bit too late and not strong enough as far as, helping. It didn't really help as much as he wants everybody to think it did. And, if that's the only thing you can say that he did good for COVID, then okay, I'll give him the credit.
Yeah, I mean, there's, like I said, I tried to be, what's funny is, and this, Stefan had made a comment about this in the Facebook live chat that I was referring to earlier. If Trump had just not downplayed the virus, and if he had encouraged people to wear masks from very early on and had just seemed more engaged and never gave up on the daily press briefings and whatnot, I think Trump would have, in other words, if Trump had been less like Trump and just tried to be, just tried to lean into it more. Well, let me put it this way. If Trump had behaved more like Chris Sununu, for example, Trump would have won re-election. There was he gets so worried. Trump gets so worried about the base and, well, what are they going to say if I tell them to wear a mask? Are they going to think I'm giving into the science and they're going to resent that because they're anti-science or what? You can kind of figure out why Trump has behaved the way that he has, because he thinks that's what his base wants. But I think if Trump had been more like Chris Sununu in his approach to this, I think he would have won re-election. In fact, I said very early on, if Trump plays this whole thing right, he might be the first president in American history to be forgiven for a bad economy because of the extenuating circumstances. Because usually if the economy falls off a cliff, a president, no matter how popular they might be by any other metric, does not win re-election. Trump might have actually been the first to overcome that, as long as he looked, because of extenuating circumstances, as long as he looked like he was really trying to get his hands around the virus. But instead, he looked like he just, a series of half measures and then just kind of took his hands off the wheel. But he could have won a second term. He really could have. But he
Oh yeah, I agree. If he had even done a fraction of what our governor had done, people would have said it's not his fault the economy went down. It's not his fault of this because he had to take care of us, and he would have won in a second.
Yeah. So he really, just played it. He played it all wrong. And now, I always said winning the presidency was the worst thing that ever could have happened to him. But now, not winning a second term is even worse. Now that once he was president, he needed to stay president to keep out of all this other legal trouble. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. All right. Well, I will let you get going with the rest of your show and have a great evening.
All right, Karen. Thank you so much for the call. Always wonderful to talk to you.
Thank you. You too.
All right,
bye-bye.
You got it. Bye-bye. All right. That was Karen. That opens up a line for you, 603-250-6007, if you'd like to chime in. We only have about 20 minutes left. Oh, let's see. We do have another call. Let's see who this is.
I was in a foursome, just me and another guy, and we were two guys I never met. One guy had to be 70 years old.
Oh, I thought Mike Doyle might call back. Oh, he hung up again already. Oh, anyway. I hope everyone knows that if you don't listen to the morning show, you won't know the joke. That's okay. That's why it's important to listen to both shows. You should listen to all the shows here at WMNH. Bobby Champagne with a comment reminded me of that clip. No, but I really do believe, Trump could have won re-election if he had said, like I said, if he had been more like Chris Sununu, because Chris Sununu, I understand they're very different personalities, but Sununu has shown through how he comports himself and his approach to this that, you don't have to panic, right? But you can still talk to us directly and honestly about the severity of the crisis, but also look like you kind of know what you're doing and like you have a plan and present an attitude of, look, we're going to get through this together. We're going to have to do some things that are hard, but we're going to get through it together. But, and it seemed like in the beginning of this, when Trump announced the coronavirus task force and they were doing these daily briefings, in the very beginning, it looked like that's what Trump was trying to do, with the announcement of the 15 days to slow the spread and all of that. Trump said, look, this is going to be hard and we're doing some very hard things, but we have to do this. We have to do this to defeat this enemy, this invisible enemy. And I remember at one point he said, I think of myself as a wartime president because we're at war with this unseen enemy, this virus. And I thought that was a perfectly appropriate thing to say. And I thought, yeah, that's true. But it didn't take long for Trump to show that, no, he's no Chris Sununu. And then he does these crazy things. He downplays wearing masks. They've got these governors in these different states who are enacting, to varying degrees, these restrictions about what we can and can't do. And how we're to proceed as far as being in public and whatnot. And Trump, I remember one day, Trump just all of a sudden he starts tweeting things like, liberate Michigan, liberate Pennsylvania, liberate this and liberate that. And it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing that? And that's an example. That's another example. Because when I was talking to Mike Doyle earlier, I was trying to, show, look at all the things that he's done. You can present all these positive things that Trump has tried to do, but the things that he's done that are so destructive just overwhelm whatever good things he did. Whether it's mocking people for wearing face masks and politicizing masks, or having super spreader events, these campaign rallies, or these tweets like, oh, liberate this state and liberate that state. And you know what reminded me of that is this quack, this lunatic doctor who apparently is now Trump's right-hand man as far as medical advice. Fauci, they're still letting Fauci talk to the media, which is impressive. I would have thought Trump would have fired him by now. They were chanting it at one of his super spreader campaign rallies. The crowd was actually chanting, fire Fauci. But this guy, Scott Atlas, so Michigan's Governor Gretchen Whitmer, she announced some new restrictions because, again, COVID-19 is ravaging the state of Michigan. It's totally out of control there. And then Scott Atlas, it's actually Dr. Scott Atlas, but you know what? I'm not going to call him doctor. I'm just going to call him Scott Atlas because he's a quack as far as I'm concerned. He's completely discredited himself. He goes and tweets something about, Michiganders, I think that's what they call residents of Michigan, have to stand up to the tyranny and fight back or rise up. He said something about rise up and stand up or whatever. Like, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? And people got upset with him about it kind of on two levels, right? For one thing, you're a doctor, you're on the coronavirus task force, and you're encouraging people to resist these restrictions, number one. And number two, do you really want to be out there saying things like rise up and resist when in Michigan, they just recently had a bunch of these inbred hillbilly militia types try to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer, the governor there, apparently with the intentions of they had a whole torture room set up that they were going to bring her to. And you want to be encouraging that? This is madness. This is absolute madness. Can the American Medical Association, I don't know when it's a lawyer, you disbar them. What do you call it when you do something similar to a quote unquote doctor? This guy's a reckless idiot. But apparently this is who Trump listens to now on the medical side. Fauci's been sidelined. They let him talk to the media, but that's about it. Apparently he has no actual influence anymore as far as policy. And what happened to Dr. Birx, Dr. Deborah Birx? Where is she? I haven't seen her in a while. But now we got this guy Atlas. And by the way, that's not the first reckless and irresponsible thing he's said. It's not the first. But it's pretty damn disturbing. My God, we're in the twilight zone with this. No, I said it earlier to Mike Doyle. I'll say it again right now. I think this is the worst possible administration we could have had for a crisis like this. It's a clown show. It's nuts. Well, we have a little bit of time left if you'd like to get in with the call on today's show, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. You can text me at 617-917-4476, tweet me at Matt Connarton, or email me matt@mattconnerton.com. There was something on a totally different topic that I wanted to get to, but it's a bit much to get into now, so we'll save that for tomorrow. That's like I was saying to Stacie when she called earlier. I do put a show together, but I also like to kind of let the discussion go where it will. But I wanted to talk a little bit about Section 230, but I also, there's some great Facebook live chat comments, so I do want to acknowledge what's going on in there, and I do appreciate such a active and engaged Facebook chat room. Robert Dion is in the Facebook live chat, of course. Rob Dion, host of Through the Stage Door here at WMNH, so he's also part of the family here, and of course the entertainment reporter on the morning show with Peter White Thursday mornings. So I assume Rob will be on there tomorrow. That reminds me, by the way, programming notes, Easy G will not be on this week. He's resting, but he'll be back with us Wednesday. Also, make sure you tune in Friday night, 8 to 10 p.m. for Retro Spectrum Radio with Paulie C. And I am on that show as well. I'm Paul's co-host along with our friend Dan Randlett. So make sure you tune in for that. Rob says, I love Karen. So positive always. Yeah, I always really enjoy her calls. DJ Midas says, we all know this real deal on Trump. The gaslighting only works on his cult. Yeah, I tend to agree. Brian Mackey also showing some support for Karen in there, as well as Jenny, who says, preach it, sister. Bobby Champagne says, Mike Doyle is my neighbor and a great guy. Like I said, we all like Mike very much. And Mike's done some, my God, Mike took Easy G shopping for shoes when Easy G Eric Gagnon needed shoes. I mean, Mike took him and bought him some shoes. I mean, you got to love that. So, no, Mike's definitely a good guy. The pizza. I forgot. Mike's actually a great guy because of the pizza. If you give me pizza, you will very likely have my everlasting loyalty and affection. Midas says, Trump gets an F in COVID-19 response. Nah, I'd give him a D-. I don't know about an F. Brian Mackey says, is there an F+? Rob Dion says, I missed Mike's call. Yay, LOL. Oh, boy. I'm trying to scroll down here, but this is... problem is I try to do things with my left hand, and it goes awry because I'm right-handed. I just want to make sure we say hello to everybody in here. Yeah, this is giving me a hard time. Look like some great comments, but we're... Okay, so Miriam said, I'm very conflicted. When I visited the show in the summer of 2018, or rather crashed the show, Mike called and said I was a rose among thorns, LOL. He was kind. He was kind in a way of interacting with me. Oh, he was kind of a way of interacting with the world that would have worked better in the 50s and 60s. Chivalrous. But being okay with Trump means not caring about the safety of my kid and being okay with using the military against peaceful protesters. Brian Mackey says, breaking news, scientists have discovered that Trump's brain is infected with the Big Mac virus. Film at 11. Oh, my goodness. The Big Mac virus. Does that mean that that Trump's going to have to eat his own brain?
Very, very large brain. He said, Donald Trump, they don't know what to do. Never happened.
Scott Robinson, who is a top fan in the Facebook live chat, says he needed to stop pandering to the cult. Yeah, that's the thing. You know, Trump could have broadened his appeal among voters. I mean, honestly, it really was. But see, I see the Trump presidency. See, I know I've said this on the show. Even pre-COVID, like take COVID out of it for a moment, I have always looked at the Trump presidency as an enormous missed opportunity anyway. I didn't support his candidacy, but I was actually hopeful in the beginning that maybe Trump really could be the uniter that he claimed he was going to be when he ran for president. You know, he would talk about, I'm going to unite people. Nobody can do that like me. I thought Trump was uniquely positioned to do that because he was uniquely positioned to be our first independent president. Now, on paper, a Republican, but we all know he had been a Democrat previously. He'd been an independent. I remember at one point, if you remember the Reform Party, back in the 90s, early 2000s. He had joined that at one point. He didn't seem to have truly any ideological foundation. So I thought maybe he will be, even though a Republican on paper, maybe he'll be more of an independent and really be able to have broad appeal in that sense, or the classic, you hear a lot of independents say, well, I'm fiscally conservative, but socially liberal, so I don't really fit in either party. There's a large swath of America that he could have appealed to in that way, I think. Remember, 41% of the electorate in this country, 41% is currently independent or undeclared. I think he could have appealed to a lot of those people. And I think it could have been a very interesting presidency and a much more successful one had he gone that route. And I had hoped that maybe he would. But my hopes were dashed pretty quick. And it became obvious that no, actually, he's going to pander to the far right. he's if anything, he's trying to be as conservative as he possibly can be. I see it as a terrible missed opportunity because, again, just like I said with COVID, if he had played this differently and not appeared to have taken his hands off the wheel, he could have won re-election. But instead, he chose to pander to the base of the base, and worry about what they're going to think if he tries to go too far with certain things. And he ended up losing. Midas says, Trump has set our reputation back 25 years. Bobby says, I think Mr. Doyle holds quite a few of his more conservative beliefs closer to his vest. It's what men say when they are whispering that speaks volumes about them. Interesting. And by the way, we're almost out of time, but we do have, in fact, we're so much out of time, I don't even have time to pull up his theme music, but we do have a surprise visitor. Yeah. Texas Mike is in the house.
Yeah, just did 3 good hours of good TV with John Hopwood and Norm and Gonzo, so it was a great time, and just wanted to scoop by it before you were done.
Oh, very nice. What happened in that 3 hours?
A lot of good. We had a homeless guy from the encampment come on John's show. That was very riveting TV, and then it was just John, myself, and Norm on for Norm's show, and it was a great 2 hours. So I cannot wait to see the results.
Well, very nice. Very nice. All right. Well, you got anything to plug while you're here, Texas Mike?
Nope.
Nothing? That's unusual.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right. Would you, are you coming on, when are you coming on? Friday, you said?
Yeah, Friday, yeah.
All right. You should maybe do an entertainment report. Easy G's gone AWOL on us again.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding. No, he messaged me. He said he's, in all seriousness, shout outs to Easy G and hope you feel better soon. He's kind of struggling this week. So,
yeah.
So he'll be back with us next week. But are you going to be on the morning show at all this week? Or have you done
that? Not until Tuesday.
Oh, by the way, Tom Blanchard in the Facebook live chat says, I lost respect for Trump, but I also don't like Biden or Harris. Oh, Tom, maybe it's time to ditch the Republicans, become an independent. Then you don't have to, you can be like me and not like anybody.
Yeah.
I have problems. I have enormous problems with both parties. Everyone assumes I'm a big liberal because of how I talk about Trump. But I'm going to be watching the Biden administration very closely. Because you know my rule, if I voted for you, prepare to be held accountable by me. I say that as if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris even know I exist. Yeah. Kamala. I keep trying to say her name correctly. Oh, the Alexa just turned on. That keeps happening. All right, well, we got to go. If you missed any part of today's show, it'll be up in just a little bit at WMNHradio.org. And thank you, Texas Mike, for stopping in.
You're welcome.
And those shows all go up on the YouTube that you were on.
Yep.
So people will be able to watch those soon. So,
yep.
So keep an eye out for that.
Yep.
Let's see. Yeah, that's it for us for now. Make sure you're back 7 a.m. bright and early for the morning show with Peter White. And let's see. What else do I want to mention? Oh, and don't forget Friday nights at 8 to 10 Retro Spectrum Radio with Paulie C. And we're going to skedaddle. Everybody be safe. Wear your damn mask. I'll talk at y'all a little bit later.